Hey everybody, so today the topic that I have chosen is emotional intelligence and it's important in communication and productivity. Just a little background to start off. The reason I kind of chose this topic is because emotional intelligence has really spoken to me in the recent year, actually, about how much a boss can really make a difference for me, and how their emotional intelligence and how they can relate to me emotionally really affects how our communication works, what kind of lines of communication we use, and the how productive I can be in that work environment. So to start us off, we're going to talk about just three kind of main points. What is emotional intelligence? Why is it relevant to what we're talking about? How does emotional intelligence relate to communication, and how does emotional intelligence relate to productivity? So this emotional intelligence, it kind of plays into these decisions that we make every day. Kind of I touched about communication and productivity, which are huge in our workplace, things we really talk about a lot. Um, how does it relate to communication? Again, communication greatly relates to our conflict management, which we'll be talking about, and being emotionally intelligent plays a large role within this conflict management as well. And how does it relate to productivity? Well, managers can make their employees want to work for them if they understand them, or they can make them operate out of fear and anxiety, which isn't probably what you want. So moving on to that first question, what is emotional intelligence and why is it relevant? So just to give you a nice textbook definition, emotional intelligence refers to someone's ability to read, feel, and respond to emotions within both himself or herself and others. I think one point to note there is that it's their ability to respond to emotions, but not just other people, not just externally, but both internally as well. It's very important to understand your own emotions as well, so you can begin to understand others. And I thought this quote really was very good. Something I got off the University of Florida's website. The business world is always changing, and emotions are becoming a much more important aspect of working relationships. Having emotional intelligence increases your chances of being more accepted on terms and considered for leadership positions. It can also set you apart from the competition when seeking a new position or promotion. So something to kind of note there is that the business world is always changing, right? So there's always emotions are becoming more apparent in how we deal with people and how our bosses deal with us and how I think even us as employees view our leaders. And that's really important. It begins to play into decisions that we make every day with not just ourselves but other people. It can be the difference maker when it comes to this employer-employee relationship, and I very much so believe that, as I've seen in my own personal life and in my work. I think my boss's ability to understand me helps me largely. Moving on, how does emotional intelligence relate to communication specifically? So, if we kind of talk about communication, communication is at the foundation of conflict management. Recent studies indicate that employee training that develops social and emotional competency is a better predictor of professional success than cognitive intelligence or specialized knowledge. This is directly from our textbook, and I think it's really important, um, because if this conflict management is so important, and um, it's shown that emotional intelligence plays a large role into that, then um, it can really make the difference in whether you're a good boss or a bad boss. And emotional intelligence also plays a large role with managing this conflict. And again, from our book, this includes becoming self-aware in managing emotions and controlling impulses. Our author goes on to say that mastery of these competencies greatly affects the way employees interact with their coworkers, subordinates, and managers. So as you can see, this comes with an everyday thing. The way we communicate, and if this communication is at the foundation of this conflict management, and conflict management is so important, then emotional intelligence is also important. It plays back to everything: conflict management, communication, all these things. So, and I mean, it's been shown. It's been shown in studies. It's been shown to be relevant. I think from my own personal standpoint and kind of how I view things is that when my boss understands me from an emotional standpoint and understands how I work and understands their own emotions as well, they begin to use lines of communication that are much more personal. So they may choose to communicate through face-to-face contact as opposed to a text message. They may choose to call you instead of texting you or sending you a very long-winded email of micromanaged, kind of these micromanaged little points. So they can actually trust you more. Communication may not need to be as frequent, or it may be more frequent. I think it kind of depends, and that also goes back to the boss understanding you as a person and your emotional needs. Moving on again, so that kind of goes also into our productivity point here is, and for my personal experience, if I have a boss who understands me and my emotions, then we have a much better relationship. It leads to this less of a micromanagement kind of style of management because my boss understands who I am and how I react to failure, and they know that I am self-motivated, and having kind of somebody over my shoulder doesn't really help me out. It makes things worse. It really just lessens my productivity overall. It makes me not want to be there. But if they understand that, hey, this kid's motivated, he understands what he needs to do, he's going to get it done, then I don't need, then it leads to me wanting to do that much better of a job. And I'm sure this has happened a lot, and I didn't really touch on motivation, but it touches on motivation a little bit. So if your boss understands you, they can motivate you, you're going to be more productive. It all falls into a line. Another great quote here I found, as you might guess, emotionally intelligent leaders are much better at collaborating with other people, and collaboration is vital in a fast-paced startup environment. These people can read the emotions of others easily, recognizing their strengths, weaknesses, and reactions for what they are. They're also adaptable since they're empathetic and more willing to make sacrifices for the good of the team. I think that word empathetic there is really important because that's something that is lacking a lot in businesses and teams today. People don't generally have enough empathy. They don't want to understand people. They just think that people are soft or mentally weak or all these things, when in reality, they just need somebody to tell them that they're doing a good job and that they want them to succeed and they care about them. I think letting people know that you care about them is one of the best things you can do for a business. It shows so much to an employee, and it makes an employee want to work so hard. It's crazy how fast you'll see those things occur. So just to kind of wrap up on all of that, I think this sentence kind of puts it all together. Understanding emotional intelligence and how it plays into the workplace can be a game changer when it comes to employee-employer communication, productivity, and conflict management. So I can't stress enough how important emotional intelligence is, how important it is to understand yourself, and how to see, what motivates you, and how you can control your own emotions to motivate others as well, and help with their productivity, and help to open up lines of communication that'll benefit the company that much more. And understanding others. Not everybody can be treated the same, in terms of their emotional well-being. Everybody needs something a little bit different. Some people may need a pick-me-up more often than others. More people might need to be left alone because you understand that they will be more productive. It's a case-by-case thing, and it's a day-by-day thing. And I think people that are flexible, adaptable, and can understand strengths, weaknesses, all these things can really separate the successful managers and employees from the ones that aren't. I think it's a game changer. And so yeah, that's all I got today. Thank you for listening, and thank you for the great semester. Have a great day. Bye.